Hi, my name is Daniela and this is day 1 of reading a short story I wrote until I get to 10,000 hours of writing. Okay, let's start. The only unpredictable thing about Greg was Sarah. In all fairness, Sarah was not a thing. The problem with Sarah was that she wasn't supposed to fall in love. Not with Greg, of all things. I'm saying things again. And now, Sarah wasn't anymore. Working at the scone was a privilege and a death sentence. That's where they met. Out of the 183 Gregs working there, Greg number 54 stole Sarah's heart doing but only he could do so well. Follow step-by-step instructions to the letter. Yes, Greg did spend his Monday mornings updating spreadsheets in the beige sweater he wore the week before and the one before and maybe always. But he was also fun, in a way, if you stretch the definition of fun the moon and back. You see, Sarah met Greg number 54 on the day he completed the challenge of the week and baked the hardest breakfast treats they could find, a step-by-step recipe for croissant. It was Sarah's second week working at the scone and she was absolutely mesmerized by the event. All Gregs stood up from their cubicles in a very orderly fashion and went to the grand meeting room. Sarah sneaked in with a broom, pretending to clean, but no one paid attention to her. The stars of the moment were obviously the croissants. They were perfect. They were the perfect shade of golden brown, and when the first Greg took a bite, Sarah gasped. She could almost feel the divine mix of crunch and buttery softness, and all the Gregs looked at her shocked. She panicked and did what she could do best. She grinned with her whole face and asked, "May I also try the croissant?" The Gregs looked at her stunned. This has never happened before, and then they did what they could do best. They ignored her, continued tasting croissant, and left an eerie view until they all filed out. All except Greg number 54. "You can have the last croissant if you'd like," said Greg number 54 with a shy smile. "Thank you, it looks amazing," Sarah grinned back and bit half of the croissant. "Wow, I mean holy wow," she said with her mouth full. Greg looked at her, hands behind his back, swinging gently back and forth. He didn't know what to say, so he just kept swinging. "I'm Sarah, by the way. What's your name?" she asked. "Hi, I'm Greg number 54, he said, wiping a trickle of sweat from his forehead. "I have to go back to work. We have to prepare the next batch to send to the... Oh, shoot, I forget what I said. It's classified." And with that, Greg turned and ran away in a most inappropriate fashion for Greg. That night, Sarah waited for Greg. They walked home together. All scone employees lived on the premises, even the cleaning staff. They talked and talked, mostly about croissant. And they kept talking. For the months to come, they fell in love, and this was the most unexpected thing to happen at the scone, because they thought Gregs were too boring to be loved. Gregs were supposed to be expendable. All Gregs signed a contract that allowed them only to go to work the same turkey sandwich every day, no mayo, no lettuce. Watch the 6 p.m. news in the evening, drink lukewarm chamomile tea as deemed fitting for a Greg, and then sleep. The work the Gregs were doing was so important. They were protecting everyone from the evil aliens from the other planets by sending them croissants and keeping them happy. This didn't make much sense to people outside the Scone, but it was a classified operation, and making sense was not a priority, except for Sarah. Sarah was actually a journalist, and she had wanted to find out what was really going on in there and share it with the world. But then she met her Greg and wanted to forget about the world outside. Each day, Sarah ate more and more of the croissants until she wasn't Sarah anymore. She cut her hair short. She decided to wear a beige sweater. She sat at the desk. She forgot all about her Greg. Number 54 was no longer someone else. She became Greg. What happened to Greg number 54? He still filled the spreadsheets every Monday, wore his beige sweater, and ate the turkey sandwich. And he hated croissants, even though he couldn't remember exactly why. This is a little Greg in the Scone where all the other Gregs are working. Okay, author's note. There are 2 Gregs in these short story collections. This Greg was supposed to be the cool fantasy Greg, but Sarah stole his spotlight from the first sentence. Writing it was fun. The story's muse? Craving croissants. Who would have thought? Listening to loads of fantasy audiobooks. Talking to my husband about postmodern architecture. The story's rating 4 out of 5 croissants, because I failed the writing assignment it was meant for. Stars, I mean stars. I'm making jokes. Okay.